Alright everyone, welcome back to the Hollyoaks Not So Weekly-ish Roundup. I'm Ash from Watching Walford, and today we're going to go through this brand new article that producer Hannah Cheers has teased ahead of the big time jump. So what do we know till now? That in autumn there would be a big time jump that would scale up the show and would completely change the way, ending up there being a year gap, and that would mean that Hollyoaks would now be a year ahead, but also it probably wouldn't stop them from doing stuff that's relevant now. It's one of those weird things. So yeah, they've essentially done a bit more of a conclusive statement, essentially expressing what's going to be different about the new one, what's going to change, etc, etc. So I'll read this article and I'll cut through it piece by piece. Also, I call this haircut the Harry Kane. Classic. 14 huge Hollyoaks secrets and spoilers from producer Hannah Cheers. The Channel 4 soap will break new ground this autumn. This is from Daniel Kilkelly at Digital Spy. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description. Hollyoaks will undergo one of its biggest changes in its 29-year history. This September is the show's timeline jumped forward by a year, marking the beginning of a new era. The long-running soap will scale back from 5 weekly episodes to 3 from autumn, which has sadly led to a reduction in cast, crew, and scriptwriting. In an exclusive interview with Digital Spy, Hollyoaks executive producer Hannah Cheers has now shared some early behind-the-scenes gossip and teasers for what to expect as we head into the autumn and beyond. The time jump was first considered 2 years ago. Hollyoaks bosses decided to create the 1-year time jump twist to help explain upcoming cast departures and mark the beginning of a new era. But it's not the first time that such a move was going to be considered. Cheers told us, when we knew we were going to go through 3 episodes per week, we revisited a pitch from Hollyoaks scriptwriter James Coleman from a couple of years ago, which was to do a flash forward in time. It all started fitting together when we were having the conversation about how we're going to logistically manage the reduction episode and cast. We weighed up the pros and cons of it, but I got really excited about it. There are going to be people who criticize it, and I totally know that, but myself and my team have been using our instinct to guide us. We know what the show is and what we love about it, so if we feel it, we know the audience will too. I will just say, I've seen a lot of people doom bringers, I guess, and this is also a time to kind of highlight. I've seen a lot of people saying that the show is garbage and it may as well just be over because it's fucking shit. Which I disagree with. Obviously, my attention's kind of weaned, if you couldn't tell. I've not really been doing weekly roundup that much, because I've not really felt the need to actually cover it as a weekly as I was when I was particularly enthralled by it. That doesn't mean it's bad. I'm still enjoying it. It's just not on the same level as it was. It hit an immediate peak, and that clearly showed, because a lot of people were interested again. Only through a bit of time, people kind of went, bloody hell, it's not really the same, is it? An article came out on Digital Spy of the same, where it says Hollyoaks has achieved its highest ratings of the year as summer storyline continued. While viewerships for soaps often peaked over the winter months with explosive Christmas storylines, families together and what, Hollyoaks has amassed record viewers over 2024 and is becoming a digital-first soap. Channel 4 has revealed that it showed its biggest week of the year in July, with viewing figures up 21% on the year. First week of July, the digital soap share was up 61%. YOY on E4. Hollyoaks also seen a VOD views increase more than 50% this year compared to 2023, and the show's share on E4 has increased by 18%. Channel commission executive Hollyoaks saying Hollyoaks is firing on all cylinders. These fantastic ratings, including an astonishing 50% increase in VOD views, are proof of that. I don't know, this one feels a bit rogue for me, because it's like, bloody everybody's watching the Hollyoaks VODs. Like, yeah, it's not TV, is it? It's not on TV. It should be me misunderstanding, but we are confident, and I've just kind of cut through some of this. We're confident that the upcoming stunt and time jump will only further fuel the show's momentum as we sail into our new schedule pattern. The future is incredibly bright for Hollyoaks. Then they talk about it. This is what Hannah Cheers, the executive producer, believes Hollyoaks is. Hollyoaks offers a unique proposition, bold, escapist, relatable, youth-skewing and multi-generational stories told in its innovative and technicolor signature style. So yeah, very loud, kind of edgy, but still trying to be relatively realistic for Hollyoaks. Hollyoaks has never really been particularly realistic, let's be fucking honest. I love Hollyoaks, I don't love it because it's realistic. The show continues to bring people together, making them feel something, approaching its 30th anniversary in 2025. Hollyoaks matters just as much now as it did at its trailblazing launch. There may be speculation about the future of continuing drama, but as someone who brought up on the Nation soaps and remains a true fan, the value must not be underestimated. Soap audiences grow alongside their favourite characters over a period of many years. Their investment in their stories is huge. Drama is able to initiate important conversations unparalleled, especially when it all comes up with joy, humour, and jaw-dropping twists. I want future generations to experience that. I'm honoured to lead Hollyoaks into the 4th decade on Channel 4 and drive the vision of this transition. Fucking someone's been doing some alliteration. Good job. But yeah, so all of the Doombringers on Hollyoaks, as everything we've seen, is that Hollyoaks views are up like a motherfucker, and it is genuinely been pretty impactful, I'd argue. And I will say, even the Hollyoaks socials, they're going up, like the amount of views that the Hollyoaks channel is getting. Like all the episodes are getting from like 8 to like 15,000 views an episode. And if you're getting 15,000 views 5 days a week, and obviously in a couple months it'll be 3 days a week, you're still getting decent fucking views, and that means you'll actually be getting into the old algorithm. So yeah, fairly important. But anyways, back to this video. The autumn stunt wasn't part of the original plan. Hollyoaks will kick off September with a bang as a huge stunt week airs. This paves the way for the time jump a few episodes later, but in original storylines there wasn't an explosive spectacle to look forward to. In behind-the-scenes meetings, boss at Channel 4 subsequently encouraged the Hollyoaks team to incorporate a stunt after seeing the success of January's car pile-up disaster, which has created several new compelling storyline arcs. She has commented there were certain stories that we were running anyway, and we were already engineering towards an awesome story peak. That's what we traditionally do. So the stories that we run across the summer are a catalyst for what happens in the stunt. Time jump itself was initially going to be the stunt, so the channel is now really excited about everything we're doing. Once again, the Channel 4's chief content officer Ian Katz is buzzing about the show, which is an amazing place for us to be. They're so supportive and so behind the show, reassured by the level of support and love for it across Channel 4. Now decided they wanted us to do what we'd done in January again, which was the biggest compliment. I mean, usually it's somewhat of a bad sign when the show interacts, but it would also be a worse sign if Hollyoaks was just put in the fucking corner, like, shut the fuck up, do the show, shut the fuck up. Like, at least in this instance, you do get some genuine insight that they do actually want the show to succeed, even if they have laid them with an absolute shit hand. They do genuinely want them to succeed. So I think it's an interesting little one. It's cool to see. And obviously Hollyoaks from Worlds Collide, I feel like that was fucking absurdly large. Like, even non-Hollyoaks people were talking about it. That's how excited everybody was. And all in all, it's probably one of my favourite like stunt weeks that Hollyoaks has done in years. It was fantastic. It was really good. So yeah, the on-screen change, and obviously this is where the biggest one is. The on-screen changes begin from September 9th, 2024. So they've now expressed the week commencing Monday, September 2nd will be the final Hollyoaks with a 5-episode format. The new schedule premieres from Monday, 9th of September, starting with the unmissable stunt week. This is a good thing for me because fucking I'm really busy in August, and I'm not someone who makes plans all year round. But August is like the 1 month I was busy. But I was fucking, obviously I know August is summer, but I was still kind of terrified that they were going to be like, yeah, it fucking happens on the 25th of August where I'm in London. Like, oh, guys, please no. But it gives me enough time to chill the fuck out and actually be able to cover it with as much intent as I would like to give to it. But yeah, so its schedule premieres from Monday, September 9th, starting with the unmissable stunt week. Cheers told us we had to think of whether the stunt would come first or the flat board. Tried every which way of working through. The stunt element is now the first week of 3 episodes, starting from September 9th. Stunt week pays out across these 3 continuous episodes. Then we come back next week from Monday, September 16th, and it's a year later. Warren and Blue's story will take centre stage in the stunt week. I mean, let's be honest, Warren is leaving during the stunt week. Warren is either dying or leaving, and I feel like he will fake his own death, akin to when he exited the first time. If I would have to suggest, that would be my prediction. Obviously, I'm not really working on the video where I'm gonna. When it airs, I'm gonna do a video talking about everybody who has left and whether I would keep them. But instead of predicting who I think is gonna leave, I think I'm just gonna wait till it's all been announced, and then I'm gonna do a big video about it. Hopefully, just before the big time jump, and actually express all the characters that have left and why and what it would have been like. And then probably a little side bit where I'd go through who I would have kept personally. But yeah, anyways. Hollyoaks' biggest mystery of the summer is the identity of Blue, the unknown gangster who's launched a twisted mission to make Warren's boxer's life a misery. The unknown individual's identity was revealed to viewers in the coming weeks, but Warren will stay in the dark for a while. Yet. Cheers said, one of the stories running at the stunt week is Warren's exit story. Along the summer, we'll have played the story about the mystery of Blue. Warren has been completely tormented and his life has been destroyed by Blue, who is hidden in plain sight. In the week of this stunt, Blue is still threatening Warren's life and it's a game of cat and mouse. Satan uses Warren as a central in that because they try their best to evade Blue. Warren makes the big decision over what's most important to him. He's gonna probably... I mean, if I have to guess, I wouldn't be surprised if Warren fucks off with his kid, with Mercedes. Obviously, he'll be like, yeah, but I'm doing it for me family. That'll be sympathetic. One thing that would be interesting. I mean, obviously, the mystery of Blue is an interesting one, because in the trailer they teased it was going to be Donnie, but the current consensus is that it's Dave, which I think would be interesting enough, because you do need something to actually make it stand out, and you need, like, if you're keeping Dave, you fucking need something to make them stand out for sure. You really do. Like, it's not worth otherwise. And I think it'll be really interesting. Sorry, I just got distracted by another fucking news article. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who Blue is, and I don't know, I don't really have a prediction for it. Like, it's not Rex, not Warren, it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Dave. Obviously, Donnie had all the pictures, but that feels like a bit of a, you know, as soap people, if they if they revealed that it was Donnie in this thing, why would we have exposed it in the trailer? But yeah, I don't know. I don't fucking know. But it'll be really interesting to see. Abe and Cleo will feature in the stunt week. Abe's abuse of Cleo will continue to escalate over the summer, building up to their own dramatic role in the stunt week. Cheers confirmed Abe's abuse of Cleo increases and it gets physically abusive. His coercive control also really ramps up. It gets to the point where after Abe does something horrific to her, Cleo has to make a decision, has a major decision to make in the stunt week. If I had to predict, I'd probably suggest that maybe Abe is hurt in this big stunt and Cleo just leaves him to die in like a really compelling scene. But also it would be weird if they didn't have the abuse get outed. I don't know. all conjecture. Steve's betrayal will be revealed. Fan favourite Steve made a terrible mistake recently when he hooked up a dangerous newcomer Rex in the court toilets on the day of his hearing. Would he expect to receive a lengthy jail sentence for killing Ella? Steve immediately regretted his actions when he walked free for kicking himself for betraying husband James. Cheers teased there's a hot, dangerous connection between Steve and Rex. At some point, James will have to find out that Steve cheated on him with Rex. They're also involved in the big week too, as we tease the 3 episodes. Who might be in danger? It's James. It's James. I 100% believe that James will be leaving, and I believe that Rex and Steve will be a thing in the next year, and I 100% believe that James will. I don't know. I feel like he'll be dying. I do feel like he'll be dying. So, yeah. It feels like it's all but confirmed, in my opinion. Frankie will break her silence. As announced recently, Hollyoaks' sibling sexual abuse storyline featuring JJ and Frankie will be resolved during the summer. Frankie will bravely confide in her father Darren in emotional scenes airing in August. Kind of not as fun that we still have to endure the next, we still have a month and a bit to go before we actually get this being properly pieced back together. It's still going to be agonizing as fuck. As much as I really enjoyed it, it has been rough, and it's shown a proper thing, but obviously the intrigue isn't nearly as high as it was initially, because of course it is. JJ will be, but obviously they'll do a good job of ramping it back up. JJ will be forced to face the consequences of his actions, leaving the Osborne family in turmoil as they try to pick up the pieces. Cheers said Frankie disclosed over the summer that she's been abused by JJ. We play all of the seriousness and heartache, and that, of course, Darren and Nancy totally believe Frankie, which is really, really good. And I really, it'll be really good to see. Get within the family at first, but Freddie finds out that Lex is going to be talked to by the police and social services. Any child that has contact with JJ will be spoken to. So now that they're actually doing it with the police, I would love to believe that JJ will actually be punished for his actions. I do think that obviously after the time jump, JJ's not going to be about, and I don't think Suzanne will stick around either. I think Suzanne will kind of go in over herself and realize that, oh shit, my son is a piece of shit, but also Frankie was always the bad one, so what am I supposed to do? And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she supports JJ, because that's kind of how it's always been in this situation. But I still do think she'll be there for the big emotional scenes, but I do think if there's anyone who's going to be like, no, you're lying, why would you lie that? Just being jealous. I feel like Suzanne will play that role. This leads to it being revealed to everyone in the village as Frankie is horrified once everyone knows. That'll be really hard to watch, because obviously feels like Frankie's going to be kind of, oh, you're weirdo, and it's like, yeah, but she was being abused. It'll probably change the way that people view her, and I don't really. It'll be a hard watch, but yeah, apparently people think that Blue might be Brendan. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if Brendan's ever returned. I can't lie. Emmett J. Scanlon, he's doing a great job. He's getting a lot of roles. He's kind of broke through again. So I don't really know if I could argue that Brendan will ever return. In my opinion, it feels like a hard one to actually do. Obviously, I'd love to see it. I love Brendan. I feel like everybody who is a Hollyoaks fan is. I've fucking forgotten to change the title, haven't I? I've forgotten to change the title. Just don't look at that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's a interesting one, and I do look forward to seeing how they portray that on screen. Obviously, it was kind of my biggest and most intrigued storyline at that time. I have fallen in love with this storyline. I've fallen in love with the characters, and yeah, I absolutely adore them. Except for JJ. Fuck JJ, prick. How will the time jump work? Well, Neighbours has shown that time jump can work without too many problems. The technique is a first for UK soaps, and fans have a few questions over whether Hollyoaks will permanently set and it will be permanently set in the future. My thoughts to this are, as Hollyoaks we don't count weekends, so basically it's still 2015, so basically it can be whenever we want it to be. We are jumping 12 months in the future, right to the day, but we won't reference exactly what year it is. To be honest, we never do that anyway. There's something so delicious about doing this time jump in terms of mysteries it can create. I love watching a brand new series where you wonder what all the characters are going to be doing as it progresses. The idea is so tantalizing, so any other obstacle there might be is one that we can take lightly and a bit of tongue-in-cheek. Time jump will come with twists. As you'd naturally expect with Hollyoaks, time jumps being used to its full potential with the introduction of new twists, surprise, and mystery. Cheers confirmed there are probably 3 hooks or big moments that come with the time jump. I'd have to imagine, it's the Warren exit, it is the Steve and James and Rex thing, and then either like the Freddy, the JJ and Frankie, or Cleo and Abe. But who the fuck knows? There are a lot of new elements in the first episode back, but which will pick up from things that have been teased a couple of weeks earlier, before the time jump that have been loosely built to. Then you're in a whole new era. There'll be some active questions that you want answers to. We come back to the show, but the fact we're jumping forward poses that question of, where are these people in a year's time? How will the exits work? It's no secret that Hollyoaks will continue to reduce its cast in the upcoming week to more characters set to leave. Some will depart as the jump ahead in time. They will have left the village in the year during the year away, while others will head off before and afterwards. Asked whether many of the departing cast will get on-screen exits, Chiz replied, not everybody will, because we'll now have shorter episodes, so there isn't much room and we can't facilitate it for all. Of course, some will get on-screen exits, because you can't not certain characters, but physically, with the time we have to tell the stories. It wouldn't be 4 strands of every episode being characters leaving for a different reason. How many job offers can people get in far-flung corners of the world and decide they're leaving? If there's a balance and it's very story-led, it's whether it fits with the story that we're telling going forward, or if it's something that's going to impact on other characters. The most important thing is that the strongest, best version of the show possible, and we're focused on stories that are hooking everybody in. Characters need to have stories that exemplify and showcase the best of Hollyoaks, and that will be the #1 priority. But yeah, so with all that said, I think that's a bittersweet one for a lot of people, because they're starting to realize that maybe some of our favorite characters, like how we've seen the Scott exit, and it's like the Scott exit isn't particularly grand, and everybody's quite miserable. I'm pretty sure even Ross Adams was like, really? And I can't imagine. I feel like there'll be a lot of pretty sad ones on the way. Like, I'm not saying I could easily imagine Ethan just being like, I just bloody left, and it's like, but he's one of our favorite characters, man. Some of them will be disappointing. So, like I said, I'm not a doombringer, but I have been suggesting the worst is yet to come. So I feel like there will be some absolute blinders that will come out. I still think, because I've not made the video yet, I still think that Diane will leave. And it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. I feel like Tony will have a new wife by the time the flash forward, so the year ahead goes by. That's just a dumb prediction. Frankie's story will continue after the time jump. So, obviously, I'm not super worried about that. I do look forward to the fact that Frankie will stay on the show, which I think would be a really, really bad thing to do if you got rid of Frankie, because I think she is probably going to be one of your most popular characters, and will proceed to be one of your most popular characters for the next while or so. I think she is fantastic. I think the character and the actress is incredible, and I absolutely adore what they've done with her. and I adore. Well, I don't adore it, it's awfully miserable, but I think that they picked a perfect actress and actor to do it because it is gut-churning, it is stomach-turning, it fucking sucks, it blows, it's awful, but it's also really entertaining. Yeah, it's not the end. With JJ's abuse, Frankie will be revealed in the coming weeks. It's not the end of the story, and it will continue to feature the 12-month jump. Cheers explained, one of the biggest questions we had to ask is what stories are we most passionate about taking forward. The sexual abuse story was the biggest one to me. I'm so passionate about how the team has delivered. The actors have handled it so sensitively. There are many nuances and parts of the story that need to be told. We couldn't just close the door on this and end it, so we found a new way through, showing a new dilemma as a part of the story. It's a really interesting prospect. I think the interesting one will be, like, how will you do it? Because I feel like there's a lot of interesting ways. I think it'll be interesting to see some of these interesting stories that I thought of is kind of finding Frankie being able to open up to people a bit more, but beyond the fact that she was abused by her stepbrother. Obviously, some people will call her a freak and stuff like that, which would be absurd and dumbfounded and need to stop. But, like, you know, will she have intimacy issues? Because, you know, it's traumatic. Will she find someone and fall in love? And obviously it'll be a fucking rough road for her to do, but will she manage to get through some of her issues that will have been carried on by JJ? Like, I think there's a lot of really interesting stories to tell. Will it leave like a bomb site in the family? You know, Darren and Nancy will protect her, but Will, and obviously Oscar will, and Charlie will probably want to kill JJ, but like, is Suzanne really going to be there for Frankie? I don't really know. Like, you know, will Jack finally be vindicated and being like, I don't even care about the fact that you tried to frame me. I understand why. I'm so sorry. I hope I do generally believe that JJ will be in prison at that time. And I don't really see JJ sticking around. Feels like the story will have kind of told itself. But yeah, it's hard to tell. Also, sorry if that fan has been fucking going on the whole time. I do apologize if you've been fucking hearing that. But yeah, the episodes will be all killer, no filler. Another change to Hollyoaks, the episodes will run for 20 minutes in a new format. Cheers told us it's 18.5 minutes of new footage per episode, plus a previously on titles and credits. Currently it's 22 or 23 minutes with a 4.5 minute difference. Everything has to be so much tighter now, it's going to be all killer, no filler. Not literally, just in terms of every single scene driving story. That's what makes me excited, because every story and character has absolutely earned their place and is firing on all cylinders. But having our balance and tone is essential. Absolutely not lose our heart and humour. They are central to everything in every story, and we'll play that, and that is the hallmark of every soap. With the story we have on the board at the moment, for the first week of the 3 episodes, you can't take your eyes off the show. Every single story is up there, so my hope to be an absolute best premium version of Hollyoaks. Now, I've seen a lot of people really complaining about this one, and I don't really know why. Like, yes, fundamentally, it's 2 less episodes, but like, it being 18.5 minutes as opposed to like 22 or 23, like, yeah, sure, you are losing like 20 minutes over the difference, but you're also losing out on 2 episodes. So I feel like the structure will have to be a lot, and as they've said, it'll have to be much more tight. It'll be less of the farting around, but still full story. And with the new way, I feel like we won't have the characters dropped every week. I feel like it'll be a lot more fast paced. I feel like most of the characters will be on the show at most times. And I don't like. I can understand why people is upset, but it hardly fucking changes the pacing of the show. I've seen a lot of people complain about this one. Like, honestly, you're complaining about... I don't understand people complaining about the fact that the show's going to be 4 minutes shorter, other than the fact that there's two less episodes. Someone says, 18 minutes of content is not enough to be a structurally satisfying episode. Alright, fucking write a thesis on Hollyoaks, you fucking dickhead. What's wrong with you? Fucking... Oh, it's not structurally satisfying enough. What are you, a builder surveying the safety, you know? Gonna have to fucking write a risk assessment or some shit. What's fucking going on here? Like, Hollyoaks has always been fast-paced. And obviously they will... And they are obviously saying, look, we will keep this very, like, fast. Most of the characters will carry on, etc., etc. So, obviously it sucks that we'll have less episodes, but for me, will be easier to cover. So, who cares? As long as the show is being given, like, the full mileage to actually deal with the story in the way they want to, I'm down for it, you know? Like, in the start of EastEnders, it was 2 episodes a week. Like, still good, you know, doesn't mean it was shit. Still great. Still love classic EastEnders. Like, I don't understand why we need to have everything all at once. Obviously, it's going to be a bit more of a nuisance to fucking sit through, but, like, man, come on, grow up. Like, we should be happy that the show's still here, you know? Them axing all the staff could have genuinely meant, well, show's over now, see ya. Like, the show's still here, so you may as well actually fucking get on board or get the fuck out. We don't need you here if all you're gonna do is be like, bloody hell, they're fucking ruining Hollyoaks. So, like, they're doing the best they can with a fucking shit stick they've been handled. It's not Hollyoaks. Hollyoaks didn't decide, oh yeah, can we just axe like a lot of our cast and crew? Yeah, why not? Fuck them, who needs them? Like, it was a Channel 4 thing. It was a Channel 4 thing. Obviously, if they had the choice, they wouldn't fucking do it. They've been given this stick, they have to fucking paddle with it. There we are. Characters will disappear less often. One frequent complaint among Hollyoaks fans is that characters can disappear for weeks in the middle of a big storyline. This is due to the way that Hollyoaks is filmed at a single camera format, which takes much longer for the cast and crew compared to other soaps. She is revealed, in order to facilitate delivering 5 episodes every week, you had to have 5 crews filming at the same time. So if your characters like Mercedes, you could only really appear in 7 to 9 consecutive episodes, and you have to look away from them for 2.5 weeks. Also, that gap, the cast will still be in every day, shooting from 8 AM to 8 PM. It's just that it takes so much longer to film than it does on every other show. I mean, yeah, because obviously Hollyoaks is doing a bit more experimental camera work and shit. That's always frustrated us because the audience wants to see their favourite characters. I remember working on Corey for the first time and I was shocked that you could have characters like David and Carla on so many episodes, the same at Emmerdale. It's so difficult, especially when you're telling big stories and have to park them for a bit. The character would look with murderous intent and then do nothing about it for 2 weeks. But it was just a part of the way that we had to tell stories and you had to find logical ways through it. Now we're only going to have 2 crews shooting per day, which means that character can actually be in every single episode. Of course, they won't always be because we have to mix stories up. Basically, stick with the story and follow it without looking away from it. We'll still be filming 5 days a week, 51 and a half weeks a year, in order to live 3 episodes every single week. Has no one, like, fucking lodged onto that? 51 and a half weeks a year? Obviously, I get that it's a soap, and most people, like, do get time off during the year. But, like, 51 and a half weeks of the year? You act like there's fucking 70 weeks in a year. What? So you have half a week off to chill? Like, fucking hell. That's just rogue, that. Now, obviously, I feel like that's a pretty rough schedule, so people who don't want to be there will have left because they're like, fuck this. But yeah, also, they've decreased their camera crew by 3. I'm not sure why. It said they have 5 camera crews. Yeah, so delivering 5 episodes every week, we had 5 camera crews. Oh, so they would all set out to do like an episode each, I guess. Our problem is we have an embarrassment of riches. There are so many stories that we want to play. It's a great problem to have. We have the best long-term plan. Our story cupboard is stocked full. We've got our full year of 2025 plan with all these stories that we need to tell, but we just need to pace ourselves and fit them all in. That's exciting. Sometimes soaps don't really pace themselves too well, so it's important that they actually plan ahead, and I do look forward to seeing what they have planned. And once again, It makes me feel comfortable knowing that we're probably going to at least see Hollyoaks through to 2025. And yeah. Excuse me. There are set changes ahead with an unpopular location change. Hollyoaks want to go further set change over the next few months, hot on the heels of the McQueen's opening their new tapas restaurant. Their strange house in the middle of the village, with friends never really warmed to, will switch back to another restaurant location later in the year, just like in the old days when it was home to the Hutch. Cheers said there'll be a couple of domestic sets we'll retire, some parts of the score that we see less. To be honest, I haven't fully made a decision about that yet. We've got it if we need it, but we probably won't be there as much. I mean, to be fair, most of the people who still go to school are kind of getting a bit older, so some of them will have already left and gone to sixth form, for example, so we probably do need a new cast of kids. Or just use the ones who have a bit more. It might be, as time goes, we start figuring out the new production model more. We might have to retire more areas, but apart from a couple of domestic ones, we're so many all over the village as we knew it. Just changed the gym to Casa McQueen, which looks fantastic. Can't wait to see the McQueen's dance on the tabletops at the Spanish Tapas Bar. The McQueen's house in the village also going to go back to being a restaurant. I won't be there in the time of the flash forward, just need more time to build to it. The McQueens are moving into the old 20-something's house. That'll be the McQueen's gaff. Oh, what? To the Tom's house. Fair enough. Yeah, nobody really gave a shit about the McQueen's new house. They're just like, how are you guys paying for it, for fuck's sake? Obviously, it was a cool little set, but, like, obviously everybody just remembers, like, the McQueen's, like, dodgy fucking flat, which we all kind of love. Also be a couple new facades in the village, new units. I don't know if that's, like, new, I don't know if that's, like, new shops, or whether it's new families. I don't really know how to read into that one. But there we are. If I just wrap it all around is somewhat of a review, I think that's a lot of very exciting stuff to enjoy, honestly. I think there's a lot of really exciting stuff to grip your teeth into. I've done a 36 long fucking minute video talking about it. I think there's a lot of really exciting stuff there, and I do look forward to seeing it. I'm not one of the people who's doom bringing Hollyoaks. I do genuinely believe that they will pave the storm and they will keep the show going, whether Channel 4 likes it or not. I think that Hollyoaks is a fucking fantastic show. May not be the most consistent, but at the end of the day, it's a long-running serial. It's been going for fucking 30-odd years. It's been going for a long fucking time. And I do genuinely love it. I can't lie. It is a really exciting thing. And the one question, will we be getting the anniversary celebrations this year or next year? You know, like, how will that work? That'll be the interesting one. But yeah, a lot of good stuff. What's my most interesting stuff? I like that we will see more of the characters more frequently. It's like, bloody hell, Frankie and JJ, and it's over. Warren and Mercedes again for 2 weeks. Like, you know, the block storytelling was probably one of my least favorite bits of Hollyoaks, but I understood why they had to do it. But yeah, there is a lot of cool stuff on our way, and I look forward to seeing it. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I've been Ash from Watching Walford. Thank you for watching this Hollyoaks video. Join me in the next one. See you then. Bye-bye.